Well, thank you so much, Director Vasquez. Thank you for coming back here on Political Life. So,
thank you, Dr. Cortez, for having me.
so the Sativa Water District, let's talk about it. What is it and why should that be so important to us?
The Sativa Water District is actually a tiny water agency in an unincorporated part of LA County called Willowbrook. It's adjacent to the city of Compton. And it was actually incorporated in 1938 and basically provides domestic water services to the residents in the area. It's basically in an unincorporated urbanized community adjacent to the cities of Compton, Linwood, Los Angeles. The Sativa Water District had a number of issues with respect to their water quality. And so residents were complaining about basically being delivered brown water. There was a bill that was introduced to clean up the water. And the solution that was proposed by our local member of the legislature was to put it into receivership and allow another governing body to basically clean up the source. Unfortunately, that's not quite what happened. The agency was put into receivership and the water supply was actually cleaned up. And there was a huge investment of approximately $4 million by the state government, which is, all taxpayer funded. And here we are almost 2.5 years later, and the system and all of its assets were basically handed over to a private water system.
Got it. So you're saying that
private water company. That's what it is, a private water company.
Got it. Yeah. So you're saying that it's not the case that the legislators are necessarily going right to privatization, but rather they introduce this intermediate step of receivership, where they hand off, say, the Sativa District to another government agency.
And it's really troubling because what we found is that when these public water agencies are handed over to private water companies, the rates are tripled. And so water is a resource that we need to exist. We need it to drink, we have to consume it, we grow our vegetables. And so we cannot price our communities out of water. We have an obligation as a society to ensure that we have an affordable and clean water supply for our communities. And oftentimes what I find is that when it is placed in the hands of these corporations, the water rates are tripled and our communities are not able to afford, or have access to the supply. So we want to make sure that we're making public investments in our water system, but that it stays in the hands of our government so that we can maintain the lowest water rates possible for the citizens.
And now we have yet another receivership bill in the state legislature that could put the Central Basin Municipal Water District under receivership, with the potential, high potential for the same outcome for efforts to privatize and eventually privatization of water supply. So could you tell us, how can some communities support you and other publicly elected water directors to defend the water?
Yeah, well, we need you to get involved. There are a number of water agencies across our region. Find out what those water agencies are, log into their public meetings, attend their meetings. Many of us are attending city council meetings. We're still not as active on our water boards. I think making an effort to learn more about them is just really, really critical. And not just about the water boards, but about also learning what the supply chain is. We, took an afternoon drive through the Sativa Water District, and we were able to actually see the infrastructure. and um, and the water wells, and really talk, engage each other on the water system and how we deliver it into our homes. And I think the discussions amongst ourselves about the system that we have is also very important.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. So yes, community members, it's time to call in. You know, if there's you see a protest about water, it's time to attend. We need the absolute best for our water, for our communities. Well, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Director
absolutely. And you know what? Before we end, I just want to share a story that I think
Vasquez.
might resonate with a lot of people. My father is from the state of Michoacan, and we travel as a child. We travel there, once a year with my family, and we didn't have running water in the house. And over the year, I became a teenager. It dawned on me that the water system in this country is very different from other countries, and I didn't really understand, how much of an effort has been made for us to have the luxury of waking up in the morning and turning on the faucet. My grandmother would go out in the morning with buckets of water and put it in a pila so that we can have water um, in our home to drink and bathe. And even before drinking the water, she had to boil the water to make sure that it killed any bacteria that it had. And so we're very fortunate in this country to have the water system that we have to deliver water, to our homes. And so I ask that, we as a community are more conscientious of it, and that we get involved in water issues so that we make sure that we have the system and the supply that we need in our local communities. So water is life. Water is life.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So we will put some links below the video. So please, community members, check them out, and let's ensure we have great drinking water. Thank you so much, Director Vasquez. Thank you so much.
Thank you.